Hello, my name is Zachary Stark. I am going to be the narrator for this video demonstrating the My Health Hub project for CS-6440. We are Team 34, otherwise known as the winning team. I have here a screenshot of the web app deployed. We talked with our TA, Taran, and he told us that it is okay for just one member of our team to do the narration of the video if we provide detail on what individual members contributed. So that is what we will do during this presentation. This presentation will go over the project at a high level, go over the individual team contributions, talk about how the project went, what gaps in research and research in general that was used, and then do a demo of the project and talk about future work. The team is made up of 4 members. We have Pablo, who does front-end development, Sadia, UX and technical program manager, myself, Zachary, back-end developer, Selvin, UX project manager. Pablo worked on the beginnings of the app, so produced a bare bones skeleton version of the Smart on Fire app and integrated it with a Smart on Fire sandbox over the internet, and developed numerous user-facing features, sign in and sign out, taking in glucose information, deploying or displaying charts of that information, producing a COVID-19 prediction model to give a risk for your particular county. Sadia was the product manager, worked on keeping everyone together, meetings, integrating with Taran RTA, giving updates to him, assisted with the UX design, and some feature development and quality testing where applicable. Selvin worked on the UX mockup, how the app would work and look and feel, worked on the COVID-19 API that displayed raw information regarding hospital beds and ICU beds, how many COVID cases are reported, new cases are reported, etc. We'll show in the demo, and it's specific to the county that you choose in America, and also worked on the technical user manual documentation. And then myself, Zachary, I worked on the back end. I added integrations with ChatGPT. In order to provide health advice, I put the entire web app into Docker. I did UX improvements for the front end as well, and I added an option to ask ChatGPT for health advice regarding your specific blood glucose sugar levels. Summary of the project. We are making a project to help people with diabetes manage their blood sugar. People with diabetes have to measure their blood sugar on a regular basis to determine how they are doing, and we wanted to provide an app where they could do that centrally, have a graph of it so they could show it to their healthcare provider, et cetera, and also acquire advice regarding their measurements. So we have blood glucose intake with graphs. We have support for fasting and non-fasting because you have to care about what your blood glucose does before and after meals. And you can also track your exercise and calorie intake over time and ask for any advice you have regarding your blood glucose or any health advice in general, and see COVID risk information for your specific county in America. The implementation status for this project is deployed locally and has been readied as an MVP for patients to use, but we have some future work that we'll discuss later that could improve the project and make it more usable. The research that was done for this project, we have a COVID-19 model that was used to train and provide risk numbers. So a number from 0 to 100, giving you an idea of how risky it is COVID-wise in your county. COVID Act now is a little different. It's more just raw numbers regarding number of hospital beds, et cetera. Like I mentioned previously, this is an API that lets you find out that type of information for any county that you want in America. Gaps in research, the COVID API risk number, the 0 to 100 number, can be a little inaccurate because the numbers used to train the model were older than they are currently, and that is a gap in research. Now we are moving on to the demonstration. So I will start with discussing the code repo. So first of all, I wanted to show that there is a contributions directory inside Team 34, and the contributions directory has all of the contributions provided by each individual member regarding what they did for the project. So that's available for your review. Additionally, we have the README, which is linked in our final document. The README gives you instructions on how to start the app locally. So I will go ahead and show you that. We have any Ubuntu or Mac operating system can run this. You go to Team 34, Docker, and you run Docker build. My Docker build succeeded very quickly because I've already run Docker build once. For you, it'll take some more time. Additionally, I said that you needed to run it as sudo. That is not necessarily the case if you are a member of the Docker group, which I can demonstrate by typing in groups, and then you see Docker is listed. If that's the case, you can run it without sudo. You cd into Team 34 and run Docker run, and it will do all of the work for you to launch the application. Just wait. It will say starting the development server, and you'll eventually see that it is launched and available on localhost 3000 right there. You can go to your operating system that you just ran Docker run on, go to a Chrome or any browser, Mozilla, and you type in that URL, localhost 3000. It will take you to a patient login page provided by Smart on Fire. Pick anyone that you're interested in logging in as. Any password will work, and you approve it. And now you're in as Aiden Portillo, and your information is up to date. Here is the application. One thing I'll point out at the bottom, you'll see that it tells you what county you're living in and what that risk is for the county. So in this instance, it's Middlesex County. We acquire that county from your city and state that you're from. And that city and state can change if you'd like to try and find out something else. So for example, you can go to Portland, Oregon, and as long as there is data for that city and state combination, you will receive a risk number at the bottom. So once you refresh, now that it shows you that you're in Portland, Oregon, you'll see that it's changed the county to Multnomah County and provided you a risk associated with Multnomah County. And that is updated here as well. Health advice. What advice do you need? You can ask anything you want. The classic is, how do you stay healthy? So I request that, and it takes a little bit of time to load because ChatGPT needs to provide a response, and that takes time to formulate. So I'll continue my demo while that loads. You can update glucose values at will. So 120, and you can pick milligrams per deciliter. Aha, health advice has come in. I will finish this input first. So I give it the date, give it a time, say whether or not you're fasting, which means have you eaten yet? So I'll say I haven't eaten yet. So 120. And then you'll see down here that it is graphed under glucose, milligrams per deciliter. Hover over the bar and it'll show you the number and that it's for fasting and the date and time that it was pulled. And you can change, let's say now it's 3 p.m. and we're no longer fasting and the number shot up to 320. Add. Okay, now you'll go down here and see that it has been updated. I will add a couple more numbers to that. So let's say 3 p.m. yesterday, I also had a pretty high uh, blood glucose after eating. And let's say that it's pretty normal. Yeah, before eating, so AM fasting. Okay, so you go down here and you'll see that the data has been divided by whether or not I was fasting. So the blue means not fasting, and then the orange means fasting. Dividing it in half like this lets you see more clearly if there's a distinction between before meals and after meals that's worthy of concern. And then they're ordered otherwise from date, so early to later. Now, going back up to here, how do you stay healthy? Staying healthy involves adapting a combination of proper nutrition, regular physical activity, adequate sleep, stress management, and other positive lifestyle choices. Here are some tips to stay healthy. So that is just a ChatGPT response of your question. Additionally, now we have this, which is need advice about your blood glucose. And it will take all of the blood glucose numbers that you've provided and send them to ChatGPT and ask for advice. So I will do that and we'll wait for the response. Additionally, you can add information about your intake of calories for that day. So here's my example of that, and number of minutes exercised in a given day as well. You can add that. So those will be graphed below as well. And you can see how many minutes of exercise you get over time. Going back up here, based on the information provided, it appears that your blood glucose levels have been consistently high both after meals and before meals. And it shows you the exact milligram per deciliter numbers that we provided. These levels indicate poor blood sugar control and may be indicative of diabetes or prediabetes. Here's some advice to help manage your blood glucose levels. Consult a healthcare professional, blah, blah, blah. So that is the health advice given your blood glucose levels. So here is all of the graphs and charts. You can also clear your glucose measurements if you want to start over and ask for different advice. And then going down here, we have risk assessment associated with COVID. So you can choose any state that you want, and then it'll give you a list of counties in that state. And then you select search, and it will give you all of the information associated with Clark County or whatever county you pick. And that it'll give you a risk level and how many hospital beds are available, how many are in use, how many are in use due to COVID. And that's true for ICU beds as well. And then if there's any new cases or new deaths to be concerned about, that number starts to get too high and gives you vaccination information as well. So that is COVID risk. And that is the entire application. Once you're done, you can log out, this lovely log out button, and then you can pick to be somebody else. So Mr. Abdul, maybe I'd like to log in as Mr. Abdul, and it will welcome you as Mr. Abdul, and you have a new county, Essex County, and you're in a different set of glucose information, so there's nothing to, no data to show. So everything is fresh and starting new. Thank you. That is the demo. And we'll go back to the presentation. The future work. So we thought that we could work on making that COVID risk number a little more accurate, given more up-to-date information, and it could give a more accurate number between 0 and 100 regarding your level of risk. Then there is, you can deploy the application to somewhere so that others can access it and use it, and then also making the UI and UX better to provide a better user experience would make the app better. And we will be presenting this at the Create X Georgia Tech Conference and possibly launching it into a startup. So thank you for your time. And that was the Health Hub by Team 34. I appreciate it.